they will add to the experience of the Viper, because currently it doesn't run, so you fix it with turbos. So, of course.
How did that happen, Ryan?
We're not going to talk about that. All right, so two pallets showed up for the Viper, and so we, via Facebook Marketplace, found some takeoff parts that were pretty much not used, and I know that because they're like clean inside the exhaust manifold. So these parts were this was probably like tuned and parked in someone's garage and never really driven by the looks of it. Got some wear and tear from being installed and uninstalled, obviously. But as far as I understand it, this was a dealer of some sort that bought this Viper, very low mile, 5,000 mile car, had this turbo setup on it. Obviously that probably didn't happen immediately when the car was new, and this stuff is newer than the Vipers. However, it's still kind of old, as we could tell from this very archaic looking AEM standalone. We were able to get this to turn on the fuel pumps in the Viper, which is good, but AEM did send us the software for this, but not the tuning cable. Seems like there's about no support for this, so we are looking at options there. And other parts are trickling in. They found the fuel rails, which were supposed to come with this, which is good because first and second gen Vipers had these really bizarre, they're called a side feed injector. There isn't a lot of options for upgrading those, so a different set of rails will allow us to use a more standard fuel injector configuration. But all in all, this was a good deal on these parts. They will add to the experience of the Viper, because currently it doesn't run, so you fix it with turbos. So, of course.
How did that happen, Ryan?
We're not going to talk about that. We got some great tile blow-off valves. There's dual blow-off valves, other parts over there. So it's a full kit, nice wastegates, Turbonetics turbos, and manifolds, and all the brackets and lines. So everything should just install. I'll just have to modify the oil pan with the drains for the turbos, for the AN drains. These are not that big of turbos. We're not, we're not going to go hang out with Calvo, with this stuff here. But yeah, no, these aren't going to make any kind of huge power or anything. I think back in whenever they did this, 1,000 horsepower was like, no one makes that. That was the god tier horsepower. Nowadays that's a new M3 with a tune. We're hoping for somewhere about 1,000 of the wheel, we're gonna try for that. We're trying to figure out what turbos they are from the markings that are on them. They're not made anymore, so I think they're 66s by the looks of this. Not huge by any means, but they should spool amazingly well on the 8-liter V10, and hopefully just sound awesome, because that's really, at the end of the day, that's all about that experience with the Viper. So this should make it sound awesome. And obviously it'll be flex fuel, because everything I do runs on E85. Yeah, we'll get around to this. We want to get the car back up and running again. Well, we found out that the Viper actually has a flexible ECU, which is really interesting. But this is not working anymore. So we started looking at how to solve that, and the solutions were not great because they want lots of money for these. So all of this was about the money as one of these. So it did come with plug-in AEM ECU, but if we can't get this working confidently, I'm sure it will function. But if we can't, properly tune it, it's not worth the risk. We'll see what happens. We're going to get it running, and then we'll get some of these shiny spinny parts thrown on here and see what kind of noises and power it makes. I reached out to the wheel company about the color, and they can't share the powder coat color with me for the centers.
Oh, were you gonna? Oh,
because we're gonna do the valve covers and the intake manifold at least.
Oh.
Maybe we should do some of the piping because it's a little beat up anyways, have it. I'm just thinking the intake and the valve covers are in pretty rough shape on this, and that stuff's gonna come off anyways during the install. Mm-hmm. We need to take that intake off to replace the one radiator hose we couldn't get to. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna put a cooler thermostat in it while we're there, because you have to take that off to get to it. So that's where I'm if it's coming off, the paint's already chipping, it's old, add some flair, because if we're gonna coat it, they're stock, they're red. There's nothing wrong with the red, but why not put an interesting color? I mean, our wheels are a cool color to go with the blue. I want to keep the blue. That'd be cool to do our intake and valve covers in that color. I think it'd just be a nice touch.
And then we'll get some carbon fiber vinyl, and we'll do some racing stripes.
No.